every day I realize.
Imagine Guam led by proven and effective leaders. Leaders with a record of service and success in lifting our island and her people from challenges and hardships that continue to plague our families and neighborhoods. The leaders we choose this election will make the difference between harder times or a safe, prosperous, and peaceful Guam. Frank Blas Jr. has led Guam out of difficult times throughout his career as a police officer, to his role as Guam's Homeland Security Advisor and as your Senator and Speaker. And now, as our Governor, he will once again lead the charge to clean up our streets, protect our families and businesses, put drug dealers away for a long time, and let the region know that Guam is open for business once again. No other candidate can protect our people like Frank Blas Jr. Vote Frank Blas Jr. for Governor and Dr. Mary Okada for Lieutenant Governor. Tested, trusted leaders.
Test, test, test. This entire time I was talking and I didn't realize that I forgot to reset the microphone. So at first I was talking about how, so we're waiting for the board to begin its meeting. To the far left, you see Dr. Ron McNinch, member of the board. Then at the head, you see Dr. Mary Okada, the vice chair, Dr. Judy Guthers, the chair of the board. Then huddling with, looks like Damon Borhut, the PIO, that's Judy Wanpat. Next to Judy Wampat is Peter Alexis Atta, member of the board. Angel Sablan also was in. Oh, yes, Angel Sablan is right there. And I don't know who the gentleman on the right is. I believe that might be Carl Torres II. I just am unsure. But if he's sitting around that table, he's got to be a member of the board, whether a voting member or an ex-official member. And well, what I was saying when I didn't realize that my microphone wasn't on was that this is the first Guam Education Board meeting, since all of the controversies surrounding Judy Wampat's decisions, and also opacity and um, complaints coming from within GDOE and also from the board itself. You have scrutiny coming from the board chairwoman herself and the former board chairman, Angel Sablan, about how she has handled certain issues and controversies that involved her lack of understanding or command of the agency's budget and financial needs. Uh, Source reports from a meeting that she held where she is quoted as saying that she is not really going to close down 6 schools. She's just using that as a way of pressuring senators into giving the department more money. In a statement following that or reacting to that, she admitted that that is something that she said, but that what she was doing was quoting what somebody else said. Of course, the closure of the 6 schools, that's a controversy in and of itself. The closure of JP Torres Success Academy, the allegations of toxic and hostile work environments within GDOE, the refusal to answer questions from the media or to answer questions directly that senators are asking. And this all, it's resulted in both Judy Wampat and the board being called before Senator Vince Borja in an oversight hearing that is scheduled for next week on the 24th. Not a very good position for these leaders to be in, and calls for even change to how the Guam Education Board is composed. That's how mad people are at Judy Wampat and the Board of Education. And I wonder, how is the board going? Who is this blocking the entire camera? And can someone please let him know? Let me see. Are they? I don't think the microphone's on yet. How the board is going to respond to Judy Wampat.
Colleagues and GDOE personnel, Superintendent Wampat, welcome to the regular meeting of the Guam Education Board for Tuesday, June 16th, 2026 at the Gallery Building, TGen, 3 p.m. I'd like to announce, just for the record, that all of the required public information disclosures for our meeting today were announced through the proper channels required by law. And I have copies of those announcements before me today also, particularly those that were published in the island media, and also those that were placed upon the proper portals for public information. Before we begin, I would like to get the endorsement of my colleagues to reorder our agenda to move all information items to the consent agenda unless required for approval. This means action items, non-action items would be moved to the consent agenda so that we can move forward with the top agenda items for today. Is there any objection to the reordering? Thank you. No objection to the reordering of the agenda. First, we have our consent calendar for our May 19th regular meeting, or we have our roll call, I'm sorry. Our superintendent will do our roll call first.
Ada Peter, Gutierrez Maria, McNitch Ron, Sablan Angel, Torres Carl, Okada Mary, Guthers Judith,
Present.
Fidenko Timothy, Brian Cholahi. We do have one of our legal counsel here and the deputies, and Madam Chair, we do have a quorum.
Thank you. And for the record, I'd like to excuse Mrs. Gutierrez, Maria Gutierrez, from our meeting today. She is off island at this time. Now we'll get to our May 19th to 2026 regular meeting agenda minutes. Do I hear a motion for approval? Is there a second? Motion's been moved and seconded. Yes, on the.
I make a motion to go ahead and approve, subject to any minor corrections that may be necessary.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ada. There's a second. All those in favor of approving minutes subject to any necessary changes, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. On communications, is there any correspondence, Superintendent, for today that we have received that require a discussion?
Well, we have a letter from Senator Vince Borja, the chairperson of the Committee on Education, about the management audit report, which would like to have some information on it. And I will discuss that later. We have a letter from the consulting firm. The second communication that we received was to let us know that there is a testimony on a bill that's introduced regarding the board, the Guam Education Board, bill number 286, the composition of. We have another memo from the Honorable Dale Alvarez Jr. Also requesting for the utilization of Senator Reed, the JP Torres campus for a proposal. And the last is a memo that we also received this afternoon from the chairperson, Pique Fejon, regarding the Finajapan Chamorro program.
Okay, thank you very much, Superintendent Wampat. You'll be sharing that information with us later today. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, yes.
I know that she mentioned what correspondence we received, but I know that we as board members also received quite a bit of correspondence from members of the community, especially for parents from Harry S. Truman. I think those are correspondence, and I didn't see her mention that we received it. And I know that when all these parents send to us as board members, I always see Dr. Wampa's name there as a recipient as well. So I will want to make sure that those are all included on the record.
Yes.
As communication and correspondence from parents from Harry S. Truman.
Absolutely. Superintendent, can you please take that and make sure that all those letters that have come in are included with our official correspondence file? I've read all those letters. Any letters that have come in, I read them carefully, and I'm sure the other board members do as well. We will continue then. We do have here, I believe, some students from the island-wide student org, do we? Today, they're not here today? Okay. Guam Federation teacher representative's not yet here, but he usually comes. He'll be here, I hope. And our mayor's council rep is not here. Did we receive any advance notice of them not being able to attend today's meeting? Do you know? Oh, Tim is off island. So our GFT member is off island. So we probably won't have a report for him today. And there's no student reps here today from Boggs. And the mayor council rep is not here at this time. Unfinished business. Superintendent, would you please present your report for today?
Thank you, Madam Chair. These are our standard reports that we provide every month. And to give you an update will be the double session status report, that we have a punch list of about 57 items for the relocation of Simon Sanchez High School. 95% of that has been started on that punch list. 14% has been completed, and 1% is pending because of a light timing that has to be addressed by DPW. The mobilization efforts are underway to transfer materials from JFK to the Teton site. All meeting minutes also have been provided in your packet, so you should be able to have that. The FEMA report, project report, is that we have obtained and maintained insurance is that the primary driver of the major funding denial to FEMA recovery, approximately $20.8 million remains in FEMA eligible across the projects review. Approximately $18.7 million represents the current estimated federal share. FEMA reductions due to O&M is identified to date total approximately $10.5 million, 8.9 is attributed to O&M, and 1.6 M is attributed to deferred maintenance determination. 3 schools were denied FEMA funding opportunities. They are Daniel Paris Elementary School, Inarahan Elementary School, and Maritza Elementary School. The highest permanent facility opportunities are Ocean View Middle School, FB Leon Guerrero Middle School, and Okadu High School. O&M insurance also requires that the primary driver the primary driver of major funding losses. FEMA reimbursed $252,000, which we received in May of this year. Funding will be allocated to F&M for school opening. For the FB Leon Guerrero renovation status report, 80% of the punch list identified has started, pending arrival of doors to be installed by the contractor. The contractor is awaiting payment to order the doors. Doors may not arrive on time and may jeopardize phase 2 of the public health inspection date, thereby not opening on time. Staging the chairs and tables will begin in the week of June 16th. And that on time for phase 1 inspection. And phase 1 public health inspection is scheduled for June the 30th. The mold mitigation and fencing status report, legal counsel has been reviewing it. We met actually this afternoon. We made some changes, turned in the change recommendation to GSA. Primarily to make sure that the payment for the mold mitigation will be not be borne by the department, but rather that of GSA, DOE through FEMA. Fencing of 28 schools, all of them are basically completed with the exception right now, which is ongoing. Simon Sanchez, Arias Truman, Estumbo Middle School, Ocean View High School, Machetes School, Rios Middle School, Talafofo, and GW. Dashboard status report, FSAIS completed the GB Power School access to the Power School, and accounts are being created for each member using their GDOE email addresses. Kathy Lamarena will submit the security management form for each board member to access the dashboard. The financial issues. Superintendent Swanson and his management team encumbered funds without the board's authorization of the $26 million lapses. The superintendent engaged U.S. Education directly at assistant, which is the assistant secretary level, on 2 key issues. 1 is the approval of the IDC rate, and 2, a letter of determination. Later on, we received from U.S. DOE. The only thing they came back with is a rate of 6.3%. So we're still waiting for the letter of determination. Ernst & Young for the annual audit is projected to be completed by August of 2026. We're currently responding to requests for additional documentation to support the audit samplings. The finalization of electronic integration of the missing TFA, Tyler Muni's financial data into GDOE's on-premise Tyler Muni's database. 100%, this is really a big success, 100% of the missing procurement documents identified in the textbook audit have been located and made available. Procurement, prioritizing workload to maximize completion of federal grant obligations prior to the end of the school year closure. So revising the end of the year financial disclosure processes. We're scrubbing open purchase orders and requisitions to ensure continuation of justified encumbrances into the next fiscal year. We're reducing the number of days of Tyler Munis is unavailable to the end user due to the end of the school year closure. And we're shortening the time frame needed to upload new grant funding and allowing quicker end user access to the newly updated funds for procurement process. And lastly is that prior to my arrival here, I was actually appointed by the governor to be a member of the Micronesian Islands Forum and the Education Committee, and we're invited to, as a working group, to go to Colonia Pohnpei on July 5th to the 9th in preparation for the chiefs governors meeting later that week. Secondly is that CCSSO has a summer leadership on June 14th to the 17th at Lake Tahoe. So for these two trips, I'm requesting permission to attend one, which will be in Pohnpei. I would sign personal leave for that, and the other CCSSO requesting for administrative leave. Okay. So
That's part of your
that's-
official duties.
Okay, so
and-
thank you. That's my report then for today.
Yes.
Dr. Wampa, thank you very much. But looking at the report that you have prepared, and I really want to commend you that you finally ended double session.
Yeah.
However, this is very important. There's a public perception out there that Tizan and Sanchez are going to be combined. That is not a correct statement. It's two separate campuses. So that needs to come out, please. Because I'm still getting that from a lot of parents that they're concerned of why are we putting over 2,000 kids in one campus. I said, no, that's not. It's two separate campuses. Okay, so please take care of that.
So we'll work with our PIO to make sure that we put out, several announcements and make it clear, because we are going through the process right now. So then we'll be able to also give them an update, a progress report in terms of where they're at. So, and what I gave you, I know is very brief, but we will definitely do that because there are different phases for FB Leon Guerrero also, and different phases of what's going on at the Tizan campus.
Madam Chair.
Thank you for that, Mr. Ada and Superintendent. It's very important.
Madam Chair.
Yes, please.
Added on to the recommendation of Member Ada, perhaps Madam Superintendent can schedule a press conference so that the media can be here and they get the very words from the superintendent and the deputy superintendents as to what the actual ending of double session and what it means for Simon Sanchez, what it means for Tizan, what it means for FB Leon Guerrero, and what it means for Okudu, so that there is no more misconception or any ideas that. And then the fact that she just mentioned that the inspection is happening at the end of June and may not be, the school may not be ready for an inspection, therefore delaying the opening of Simon Sanchez. And so all of these have to come out. And
It's FB.
FB, one of the schools, there's a delay. There's a delay so that the parents and the public know in this press conference what it is that we're planning and what it is that we're saying. No misreading of lines from press releases. Because I still see, like Member Ada said, it's still people asking merger, and it's not a merger. So I hope that the superintendent will take that suggestion into consideration and hold a press conference even before the July 30th inspection from public health.
Dr. Wanta, you
Yes.
want to announce your action?
Yes, most definitely. I totally agree with you that we should be doing this. I think we'll do this on a weekly basis at every stage, really, to let everybody know. So thank you so much for that suggestion. And
Yeah. Well, thank you, because a couple of years ago, when we were trying to reopen the schools due to the inspection for public health, we did a weekly press conference so that everybody knows exactly what school is opening, where are we inspecting, and what's being done. And I think that helped the public very much. My other question is, on the FY audit, is that FY 25?
yes.
I just want to make sure that we don't get something again back from our public auditor saying that it's GDOE delaying the Guam audit. So I'm happy, DFAS, and Madam Superintendent, that we are on this and that we're going to be, hopefully, August, right? We don't extend any more than that, we'll be done. All right, thank you.
That's the date that they gave OPA.
One final. If I heard you correctly, there may be some schools that may be delayed in its opening from the schedule. Is
No,
that
the
correct?
only one we're talking about is FB.
Okay, FB.
Yeah.
So we need to be prepared also for a makeup day.
Yes,
Within that
we
school
have
year.
we have a plan B as well.
All right, okay, thank you.
And if
Dr. Ron?
Did you answer that?
yes, I did, but I was just going to go over some other documents that you should have in your packet just to make sure if you have any questions.
Yes, please do that.
So one was in your packet. You also have the JP Torres Success Academy Program Closure Report. So you should be able to review that, and you'll be able to see the transition plan, the personnel transition. The affected personnel were 10 teachers, 1 counselor, 1 librarian, and 1 computer operator. All of those individuals have transferred. Only 1 is deciding whether to go back to teaching or to remain as a librarian. She would make that decision by next week. I also want to let you know, by actually having these positions now, we place them in vacant positions that we had all year, and the savings to the department is about $1 million. All of the records have been transferred, and to also assure everyone that there are several programs that we are currently offering that addresses what the Success Academy offers. One is we have a boost program in which then before, during, and after school, we pay our teachers a stipend to work with these students for credit recovery. The Guam Community College, through the Adult Education Program also, which is fairly funded, it's free to the children to attend school there. We also use CG grant monies to give as muja to take our students as well for credit recovery. So, and then we have the Escuela Employee program and summer school as well. So we have definitely 5 different alternatives for children needing to recover credits. I also put in your packet another, which gives you a thorough breakdown of different options at the very beginning when we were talking about what to do with FB and Young Guerrero Middle School, whether we're going to have different options. So just to let you know that these are the notes as requested by Mr. Sablan. So we provided all the notes that were taken for all the meetings. The other notes that we also included for you as well at his request was for the proposal to address ending the double session assignment Sanchez with Tijan High School. And just as a reminder to everybody else, it's 1 campus, but it's 2 separate schools in a campus. So that report as well is there for your review.
Thank you.
Just a quick point, if I may, relate to this. Will those reports also be available for the public, madam?
Yes, GDOE website.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Very
welcome.
good. Yeah. Thank you, Superintendent. Appreciate all the information. prepared and made available on our website. Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Dr. Wampat, for the very good report and for all the good work you've been doing here at GUE. Madam Chair, I've heard lately in the media, particularly Kandit News, that it was said that senators needed to be paid to approve certain things relative to Simon Sanchez High School. I don't know the full details, but I have heard there's documents on this. I find it troubling, and I would certainly like, perhaps at our next meeting, if we can, between now and the next meeting, have someone look into it for us and get us that information, because if that's true, I'm just troubled by it. Thank you, Madam.
I'm sorry, I know I don't listen, so I don't know. I'll find somebody maybe who has. And
yes, and we don't have really investigative power as a board, but we might be able to put somebody on it to gather that information for us. That's my.
Excuse me, Board Member Ron, could you please repeat what you said? I didn't quite hear it.
That last night, and again, I follow all media, not just single media, that there was a concern that in order to get certain actions done on Simon Sanchez High School, senators would need to be paid. And this was said very openly. And I'm not sure of the veracity of it, but I think that we, as a board, we should look into it directly or indirectly, or just, and it could be a misquote for all I know. I just simply do not know at this time.
Was that in the news story, or
yes,
was that a comment?
Yes, it was a comment, and there were documents also that were provided. So I think I would just like to kindly suggest that I'm not sure who should look into it here. I can look into it if the board would like me to, but I think it would be better if it was gathered formally by a appropriate staff member or an appropriate administrator from the GUE, because I find that troubling if it's true. That's all. But thank you.
Well, I would suggest, Madam Superintendent, that someone on your behalf should read that article, and if it's of concern, just forward it to the Guam Ethics Commission, please, because we're not in a position to conduct
Intention.
Yes,
It's just to have appropriate, that we take an appropriate notice at the level of something like that.
I am hopeful that none of that is accurate, but regardless, if it infers something that affects us, then it should be made known to the proper offices to look into. That would be the Guam Ethics Commission, I guess.
Madam Chair, piggybacking on Member Dr. Min's comment about media, I've also seen from the same media source that there have been grievances filed against the superintendent, which I know she's done her report, but she didn't say anything about there's anything filed against her. And if there is, does it go to us in the executive session so that we can, if there is any, discuss it? I know we can't discuss it here in public, but maybe we can verify with the superintendent. Is there anything that has to be turned over to us so that we can do it in executive session?
Well,
because it's in the media.
Just for the record, I have not received anything myself as chair of the board. I don't know if anyone else has.
I have not either, but has Dr. Judy received anything?
Yeah, I don't know. This superintendent, you can let us know in executive session. We'll discuss it in executive session. By the way, we have our court reporter here, and we're supposed to go in executive session to handle a legal matter. So may I request that we temporarily go into executive session at this time.
Before we do that, let's dispense with the superintendent's report first.
Okay.
She still has an item for a motion for us to approve, which is the trip. And I'd like to close it out by approving
Go
her
ahead.
report. And she mentioned July 5th to something, but here it says July 13th to 17th. So
right.
which are the dates so we can put it in the proper motion?
There are two dates here. The one for
Your trip for Pohnpei is July.
July 5th to the 9th, and then the one for
CC.
CCSSO, that's on the 16th.
So both these days
16th
are
and 18th.
inaccurate than the one on
Yes.
the agenda.
Yes.
I overheard Dr. Wampat say that she will be submitting her personal leave. Why? She's doing an education project representing the Guam Public School. I personally do not see any need for her to apply. Now, what she can do for her own safety, just go ahead and submit it, and if they ask, but I personally do not believe that it'd be necessary for her.
on
Give her an
official
administrative leave. Thank you.
We can approve it, yes. So Dr. Wampat, what are the dates of the activity? July 16th? Cap, can you give us the dates?
July 5th to the 10th is in Pohnpei, and for the CCSO, that is, I believe, the 14th to the 17th.
Okay. All right, so there's two meetings. Ladies and gentlemen, one is from July 5th to the 9th, the first one. And the second one is July 14th to 17th. Do I hear a motion for approval?
I move that the request from the superintendent to attend the Micronesian Islands Forum planning meeting in Colonia Pohnpei from July 5th to the 9th.
I'm sorry, 13th to the 17th.
And July 13th?
So it's not 5th, July 13th to the 17th.
Yes.
And the CCESO,
CCSSO is July 13th to the 17th, and the MIF is on July 5th to the 9th.
So July 5 to 9 and July 13th to 17th are the dates.
July 5th to the 9th is the Colonia Pohnpei.
Colonia,
Yes.
yes.
And the CCSEO is July 13th to 17th. And this is for the superintendent. I move that the board grants her the authority, authorization to travel for this,
Is there a second?
and to just apply for administrative leave instead of personal leave.
Right. Is there a second? Second? All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion passes. Superintendent, please be sure to write a short report on your
I also did include
experience. All right.
And I also did include also in the packet my report to the first CCSS.
Yeah, I saw that. That's very
Okay.
good. Thank you. In your packet is a report from the last meeting that the superintendent had to attend on behalf of our department. So that's there also.
And if I may, and I think this is really very appropriate, because in one of the questions it did ask, like, for example, the knowledge gain and the skills gain, and what would that translate for us in the classroom, school, and the district, and all of the chiefs and numeracy. And as a result of that, when I returned, I met with the senior management team, and in preparing to write the new consolidated grant for 3 years, our focus is on literacy and numeracy as well. So we are taking the same steps as the others that we promoted throughout the U.S.
Very good. Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes,
So Dr. Wampat, just for clarification, so that the agenda currently or correctly reflects the MIF, the Micronesian Islands Forum, if the agenda can be modified when it is final to July 5 through 9, and in all subsequent requests for travel, if you would please include the conference information, the actual dates, and either invitations or appointments that you have for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Angel, Board Member Angel, and also Superintendent. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to request that we go into recess for the executive session. Thank you. Is there a second? Motion passes.
Discussion.
Thank you. in executive session.
Discussion. In respect to the mayors that are already here, and they're here to hear about our new business that's on the agenda. And I don't know how long our executive session is going to last. And we don't want this whole people out here to be waiting and then come back. I'd like the superintendent, because I think she has some good news in that part of the agenda. And maybe we should just do that, dispense of it, and so that they don't have to keep waiting
Is there any
to
objection?
hear from us.
No objection. So, Madam Superintendent, we're going to move to our little discussion with the mayors of Guam who are here today.
It's a new business.
Under new business.
Okay.
So we're going to move new business up to accommodate our mayors. We invite our mayors to please come forward and join us in the front.
That's if they want to make a report, but I think the report from the superintendent would be,
Are you sure?
unless they have questions from the superintendent's report.
Then you can decide if you want to come up. Thank you, mayors. Yes.
Very much. I just want to share with everyone that there's this committee on maximizing district resources, CMDR task force, which was created by the former superintendent, Dr. Swanson, and led by former deputy Joe Sanchez. And in that discussion, they had looked at the entire school district, and they had presented basically 4 groups. Group 1, the first one was LBJ and Brody Memorial School. And the second group addresses the southern schools. But what I'd like to do, if I may first, is just really state some of the reasons in which, this task force was put together in right-sizing our schools to primarily maximize full utilization of our school facilities, to maximize school classrooms due to under-enrollment, to maximize human resources due to a lack of the teachers, certified teachers and staff vacancies, to save on utilities and other contractual obligations, to address the limited resources for repairs and upkeep of our facilities, to comply with the 14 points of the adequate education, and to comply with the collective bargaining agreement. So in having several meetings with the group, and this is all in discussion only, not necessarily subject matter out in public, to say that this is final decision, because the decision only to be made by the board, and I understand that. So the committee then in phase 2 and looking at consolidating some elementary schools in the south, not all 6, but due to this coming school year, that we consider it to be having insufficient time to responsibly execute phase 2. The CMDR presentation that we have put together basically are saying that this matter and the data collected by them demonstrates that enrollment trends and faculty and utilization justifying reviewing consolidation options, because they have worked with public health and found that the declining birth rates and enrollment projections, significant excess capacity at several schools, and potential operational savings through consolidation. So the phase 2 committee basically is requesting to place it on hold until the board approves it and after stakeholder engagements are completed. A timeline was set basically for the entire year in what should be done, but that again would be through the final approval of the board.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So, Madam Superintendent, is it your recommendation that there will be no changes in school year 27 as far as decommissioning, closures, right sizing, or anything like that, until all this information that is being requested upfront is provided. Is that your
Yes.
recommendation? If that's your recommendation, I will defer to the chairman of the safety committee to make a motion so that it'll be on the record as to what it is that you are recommending.
Thank you, Member Sablon. Madam Chair, when Dr. Swenson brought up the subject of what LBJ and what is it? Brody School, it was quite obvious. It is very, very important that we have to have data. We need to know how many students are in that school capacity. What is the teacher ratio or the teacher and staff there? The utility costs and water and everything else, you know. And I really believe it is very, very important that we communicate and touch bases not by email, but in face-to-face with the mayors, the vice mayors, the parents, and the students themselves, and even the business community, so that they are all in the same page. Therefore, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we continue the studies of what is being done, but meet with all this criteria of the mayors, vice mayors, principals, faculty, and the parents. They are the most important people here, and the mayors. And until such time that we have completed all that, come back to the board and let us be the one who will have to make that final decision. I'm already set in my mind the issue of Truman and Marshall Sablon. That matter has been settled last year. In my opinion, I don't think we should circumvent the issue again. It's already been settled. Let's move on to other things that we may have to do. Leave Truman alone. Thank you. Oh, back again to repeat myself. My motion: suspend any scheduled closure of any schools. However, continue with all your data information. And then once you've completed a meeting with everybody, come back to the board for its blessings or no blessing at all. Okay? That's my motion, Madam Chair.
Is there a second to the motion?
Just to make it more clear, is your motion for school year 27?
26, 27.
So in other words, if this motion passes, there will be no action
No action.
towards any of those schools, or any school for that matter, until we receive the information. So I second the motion, if it includes that part.
Yes, it would include that. Thank you, Mr. Sablon. And just on the motion, ladies and gentlemen, I have to say that the former superintendent initiated this study during his time. And it was left with us. I was not a member of the school board when this whole process started, and sort of inherited this possibility when I joined the board. I don't think anyone here really wants to remove a school from a community. None of us want to do that. And I'm pleased to say, and I know our superintendent is aggressively looking for alternatives. And at our last discussion, I remember I spoke about dual usage, multi-purpose use of campuses that have more space than they need at this time. And people ask me, well, what do I mean by that? I was thinking that, and I know Dr. Wampat was as well, government agencies that need space that are currently renting space. There are some compatible government agencies and functions that we might be able to accommodate at a school that has a lot of space available. Who could possibly pay rent to the Department of Education rather than to a landlord? Nonprofit organizations that receive funding might need space in villages for their programs that we might be able to accommodate at the school, and they can help pay some of the costs of keeping the school in operation. There's a lot of creative things that we can do, and I think I would hope that our island officials would be supportive of this, as well as our mayors. And that's what Dr. Wampat has been doing. She's been looking at alternatives. This is just one alternative. Please understand, the situation is the senators want us to spend our money efficiently and properly. And that includes using our resources properly and making sure that we're able to carry the load we're supposed to carry with the budget that we're able to receive. And sometimes that's hard when you have vacant space in a school, you have teacher-student ratios that are very low, you have overhead costs that continue at the same level, whether it's utilities, whether it's other expenses. So we have to find ways to mitigate that. And I think that our superintendent is on the right track. She's talking actively about alternatives. I understand she's going to meet with the mayors and discuss it with them and see how we can help each other meet our goals to keep our schools open, particularly our village schools, our community schools, and also to be able to help pay the bills that go along with that by entertaining options other than closures of the schools. And that's what we're saying here tonight. So under this motion, should this motion pass, we will not be closing any schools in school year 2006, 2007. I'm 27, is it 27? Yeah, 26 to 2027, right? And that we will be exploring other alternatives that we hope to work with the community and the mayors and our senators. So there's some comments here also from Dr. Okada and
Dr. Wampat, I would just encourage you to, as you continue with these studies, that you reach out to the mayors and ask them to participate, or if they're unable to participate, to designate someone on their behalf to participate in the committee when you start having these discussions. And because that will encourage conversation from all levels and all stakeholders. And then Mr. Torres, if you can also engage the parent organizations from those respective schools so that they also have a voice at the table.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of quick points. I support the motion. I think that we should take a little more time and look at these things. If I had it my way, there would be a elementary school in every village, a community school, a community learning center. I think that the meal employees, the lunch and breakfast employees should be from the village. I think that the support staff, the maintenance folks should be from the village. I think that parents should view our schools as thriving centers of community life for us. And I think that many of us share in that opinion. And so it'd be my personal preference if we can figure out a way, and I'd encourage us all to have an open mind to look at ways of keeping all these schools open. We certainly should, and I encourage us to take a look at possibly being able to do that. I think that there's just a lot of potential because we're talking about building new schools, and yet we have schools. And so how do we balance those two? The other thing that I want to just briefly mention is our superintendent and our staffers must be able to study these things. They must be able to gather data. They need to, without any emotion, dispassionately show us what the options are and be able to not fear expressing to us what our options are. And I just want to mention that for members of the public is that at least at a systems level, we have to have data and these studies need to be done. As an individual board member, no way in the world would I ever want to see any school shut down if we can avoid it. That's my own opinion, and it's one that I'll stick to probably until the end of this process. But the other point is we have to be able to study these things. We have to be able to look at those things and not be afraid to look at the hard options and then go back to the legislature and tell the legislature we have hard options to deal with, and here's some ways that they can help us. The final point that I want to mention is we have sliced and diced education on Guam to the point where even our governor has trouble helping us. And we need to re-examine strategies to allow our executive branch more support us, as well as or maybe even our legislators more support us, because we've so taken the executive out of the picture, and it's all been nested with us, when in fact we need the executive branch. We need the full support of the backing of the government of Guam on a lot of these issues. And I just wanted to mention that, and that we need to be mindful of it. I certainly support the motion, and I appreciate the time, Madam.
All right, thank you. On the motion to defer any action or consideration of the closure of any schools under the Guam Department of Education's purview for school year 2026-2027.
Oh, yes, school year 26 and school year 27.
Yeah, that is because it was intended, the plan was to do it for 26, 27. My motion is to just hold it, continue the studies, and until everything is completed, and then come back and let the public know what is going on.
So the motion is as amended and presented by Mr. Atta includes the department to continue its research. Of course, they're going to do research not just for that option, but for other options, and also to report back to the board with the information when it's ready. All right.
And just as a final thing, just before I got involved in this thing simply because I felt that we lacked transparency. And here we are today letting people know what we're trying to do, and it's being transparent. And before I do my final vote on this, I'd like to hear it from the superintendent so that nobody can misquote her and saying, yes, she's closing schools. No, she's not closing schools. Madam Superintendent, do you agree with this motion?
Yes, I do. But I'd like to also let you know that in your packet, I did provide studies that were done, data that were collected, and these were collected even before this school year. It was a lot of the work had actually been done by the previous management.
But there's more and more work to be done.
Yes,
before any final decision is
totally,
made.
I totally agree, and that's why I feel comfortable with the motion. I feel very comfortable having to work with the mayors. I had a brief conversation with them to be able then to utilize our school facilities, maximize our school facilities. That's my main focus, because I have to make sure that we're going to be able to sustain our operations and to sustain our personnel as well.
And I just asked that question because I don't want you again to be misquoted, saying that this is what's happening when clearly this board and you as superintendent, we are not closing any school in the South or anywhere on Guam until all these required documents. And the study is completely done in transparency and in communication with all the stakeholders.
And also other options.
And other options.
All other options is included in the motion.
Yes.
All right, are we ready? All right, we're ready to vote, ladies and gentlemen. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Those opposed, motion is unanimous. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I'd like to ask the mayor, does anyone want to address the board at this time, or are you, okay, please come forward, Mayor. Thank you. Please introduce yourself for the record.
He's literally happy. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Anthony Charlotte, the mayor of Binalahan. And so part of the reason why Angel hit it on the nail talking about transparency. The other thing that Dr. Benich pointed out that he heard something on the media, but there's nothing yet that's warranted or it warrants to go and investigate. So like us, the mayors, we're having to field calls about, you know, is there really a closure or is there consolidation or whatever? It really hurts me because I do not have a response. I don't have an answer to address any of the concerns. And so again, moving forward, I would like, you know, that we get involved with the decision making, if there is one, because we need to learn to manage the expectation of our constituents, our people. But if we don't even have a little information, how do we manage that? We can help this board, this body, manage the expectation, because I realize that we cannot be emotional. We need to be objective, and I understand the objectivity when we talk about finances or utilities and teacher to student ratio, what have you. I totally understand that, but not even understanding what the conversation is about keeps us in jeopardy, keeps us in limbo. So again, transparency, I think, is right on the nail. I know all the other mayors too, we were asking each other, of course, way before this, about have I heard anything? We literally are asking each other, have we heard anything? And we have not. And so again, I appreciate the effort you guys are all doing. I understand that there's still some information and data that needs to be collected in order to derive to, you know, of course, a good decision, and we're all going to support the good decision. But let me just be very clear so that we all understand. You know, we're the Southern group, right? Well, our family, our income down there is between medium to low. So let me give you a scenario, because one of the scenarios I heard is that Inalan may be consolidating with Malesu, and I'm going to say that's okay, but here's the real picture, the real scenario. So understanding the utilities, understanding all of that makes a lot of sense. But let me give you the scenario. A typical family in Inalahan, both parents go and leave. They leave the child with the grandmother or the grandfather. So if that child was in Malesu, or let me give you, if the child was in Inalahan and the baby was sick, you can say, okay, let me ask Auntie Chai, the neighbor, to give me a lift to go pick up my grandchild and bring him home. But if that child, Inalan child, is now in Malesu, now it's about asking Auntie Chai, but also asking where do I find $20 or $30 or $50 to gas her car to go that extra distance down to Malesu. That's where a lot of the burden happens for a lot of us. You know, and in some cases, grandma doesn't have a car or the only vehicle, the parents are using the vehicle to go to work. So you see, even at that level, and I'm sure it's probably never seen from that perspective, but that's the struggle that we have, and that's the reality. As mayors, we sometimes are called to pick up those kids and transport them to grandma because there are just no means for them to come. So those are the things that we need to recognize. And as you know, if grandma not able to make it down to Malesu in the next 4 hours, that child, especially if they have a high temperature, what is the school going to do to fill that gap, to make sure that they bring them back to grandma, or more importantly, be able to bring them over to the hospital? So there's a lot of variables that's still not being considered. I know from the internally, you guys are looking only at student to teacher ratio. You're only looking at utilities. You're looking at maximizing the space. What about what is it doing in the family home front? How much impact is that going to happen? I'm never going to complain about the distance because a lot of kids in Ilan also attend private schools, but that's their choice. So for them to flex and alter their schedules and what have you, creating that flexibility, it's already there. But how about the parent that don't have that option? So again, I thank you guys for taking that consideration. I thank all the board for approving and withholding for another year. And I even just told the mayors, I jokingly said, 1 year from now, we'll come back here and do the same thing. But again, if it's very transparent, the process, ultimately, we want all the kids to be successful in terms of having education. But how do we provide that, understanding the financial challenges that we all are going to have? So again, with that said, I want to say, thank you guys very much for bringing this to the forefront. We were really afraid that we're going to be here up to 7 because I understand you're going to executive session. But thank you again. Just to be very transparent, Judy Wanpa, the superintendent, is a constituent of mine in Alahan. But I don't want to be emotional, I want to be objective, but really truthfully, we try to protect our own. And in this case, I want Ms. Judy, I want you to be very successful. And so again, understanding the processes and just hearing our concerns makes a huge difference. We all want to be successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Very good. All right. Here's one suggestion, by the way, for the mayors. May I suggest that the Mayor's Council also have an alternate mayor representative here? You have one? Okay, great, because our mayor member has not been available for a couple of meetings. And we need you here. We need a mayor always at our meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Just email Mayor Kevin the meeting dates. You'll be there.
Yeah, okay. All right, great. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, when we now recess for our executive session, it's not very long. Thank you, everyone. We're going to have an executive session, so please excuse yourselves temporarily. It won't take long. It won't take long.
So you have to take your things.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to transfer the camera to me. I'm just wearing my house clothes. Good work to the Guam Education Board. It looks like they responded well to the community. You heard them. If they were listening to the community, and apparently they were, then I don't think that there was really any other way of looking at this. Demand transparency from Judy Wampat. I wish they called her out more about the issue of transparency, but also, how are you going to shut down schools when you haven't had this conversation with the community? And that's exactly what they did. So, Gina, they are clapping because the board has just voted to prevent Judy Wampat. They're allowing her to continue on with the gathering of data and maybe even public outreach regarding school closures, but she's not allowed to close any schools at all throughout the GDOE for the next school year, from during school year 2026-2027, until that school year is finished at the very least. And so that's why people are clapping. You heard, I can't remember what Angel Sablan said that he heard on Kandit, but whatever that was correct. Oh, it was that's why they're going to executive session. Source reports of grievances that have been filed. And then it's not just against the superintendent. It's also against members of her management team. Matter of fact, you can go, if the board wants to see this, it's public at the Civil Service Commission right now. It's like publicly available. There are already cases against management, against the new Wampat administration. But the thing that Dr. McNinch said, I want to cast some light on that. It does involve Guam Department of Education, but I doubt that this involves Judy Wampat or her team. This predates them, and I doubt that it even involves Eric Swanson. So he said that he heard on Kandit that there were senators who were offered to be paid in order for there to be action with Simon Sanchez High School development. That comes from recording. I can't remember if it's recording 1 and recording 6 or just recording 6 or meeting 6. So in the summer of 2025, during the closed door negotiations on Simon Sanchez High School, hold on, let me just go to the GDOE page to make sure I don't miss. Regarding Simon Sanchez High School, the negotiations that were happening between Cortec and the government of Guam, Ho Yun, one of the Cortec chairman, in meeting 6, when the negotiators were trying to figure out how they were going to get 2 additional payments to Cortec as part of this deal, each payment being $16.37 million, or so a total of $32.8 million, essentially, right? How they were going to convince senators to do that. By meeting 6, senators had already included a $16.3 million appropriation into what was then the budget bill. It eventually became law, but there was no plan set into motion for the same appropriation in fiscal year 2027 because that budget period did not start until January of this year. And so one of the comments that Ho Yun made was that it looks like he's going to have to donate more to the campaigns of senators in order to get that appropriation in. And so if the board members or if Judy Wampat wants to know what that's about, all they have to do is go to the Department of Public Works website, go down to resources in the drawdown menu, click procurement, find the Simon Sanchez High School folder. And in that folder is going to be the 5 taped recordings of the 6 negotiation meetings. Go to meeting number 6 and listen to it. It's right there. This is not rocket science. This is available stuff that Judy Wampat can just do by just doing her job. This is not a good day for Judy Wampat. She was absolutely reined in by the Board of Education. Let's go to Guam Department of Education. Let's see if I don't think that they are back on. They're in executive session. I'm tempted to end this live stream, but you just never know what they're going to talk about afterwards. So, or when they come out of this executive session, what if they discuss whatever grievances these are? I'll tell you this. It sounds like the Board of Education has its ear to the ground. It sounds like the board is being responsive to public input. That's always a good thing, right? I would be very careful and wary in believing really anything that comes out of Judy Wampat's mouth. And that's based on my experience, having been in the same political vicinity with her for years and years and years. When she was the Speaker of the Legislature and Eddie Calvo was a senator at the time, and then Eddie Calvo became the governor. She was not a very honorable statesperson. Anyway, I really feel bad for the Guam Department of Education. It's come so far in how many years now? When was Fernandez put into office? Was it 2012 or 2011, 2012, something like that? He comes into office, so that's 15 years ago, right? 15 or 14 years ago. And since then, this massive change has happened. And it was a change that involved everybody, or most people within GDOE. And there was this synergy. And yeah, there were bumps along the way, and not everybody was happy throughout the entire time, right? And there were some problems. Yes, of course. No system is perfect. But man, has GDOE come so far and has done so much work, and so many people responsible for this change, this evolution at Guam Department of Education, all for it to be stymied. Hopefully not defeated. Hopefully we don't get it as far as a defeat or a complete turnaround, but, obviously stymied by a politician. And if you're like me, you have a tendency to not trust politicians. I don't know if, let me see, refresh. They're not out of executive session yet. I'm kind of tempted to just end this live stream, but there are just other issues that might come up. I don't know. I suppose if you know what, let's end this live stream. If there's anything that's important that comes up after the board comes out of executive session, then, we can talk about it tomorrow morning. But this fulfills the Troy Torres Show, which was supposed to be at 7:30 tonight, which means that I finally get an evening off. You all have a wonderful day. God bless you. Thank you for joining me for this early edition of the Troy Torres Show. And it's because it was our live broadcast of the Board of Education's meeting. And the breaking news is, thanks to all of your voice, your efforts, the voices of the stakeholders of Harry S. Truman and the mayors of the South, the Board of Education listened and is not allowing Judy Wampat to go through with her school closures. You all have a beautiful day. God bless you.